Hello, this is Darin Martineau here, and today I'd like to talk about some restaurant magic, and then I want to talk about increasing your tips, which could apply to street magic as well. I was thinking about how I can add value to you guys, and so what I'm going to do is give you some of my experience. And I started off in restaurants when I was about 16. And then I was working, at one point I was working in restaurants during the day and at night. And so first I want to talk about getting your foot in the door, okay? So what you have to offer is the restaurant would now have entertainment that they wouldn't have to pay for. The customers will be entertained without being charged. The restaurant's service might seem faster if their customers were distracted. A little entertainment would distinguish them from the restaurants without any entertainment, and those that offer it. Magic is something that people talk about, and it will get them plenty of word of mouth to their friends and families for weeks after the experience. The name of the restaurant will stand out and inevitably come up during the conversation. And I actually have a whole list of things when you go to a restaurant that you can give them, so they know the benefits that you're adding to them. So there's a whole bunch of things. So I'm probably going to make more video podcasts on this, but I want to cover this really good. So there's going to be multiple things on this. First, we want to talk about frame of mind. Okay, it's important that you think of yourself as a product that you're recommending, not one that you're selling. The best salesman is one who truly believes in his product. A good salesman envisions customers buying happily, using successful, and enjoying tremendously his or her purchase. Rehearse the whole conversation over in your mind that you're going to have with the manager, and then until you're sure of reaching a win-win, rewarding conclusion. You want to make an appointment. You don't want to just show up. You want to call ahead and find out what's the restaurant's business hours and get the name of the person in charge, the manager. Next, we're going to talk about what to say. When you arrive at the restaurant, don't come in at a busy time and try to come in after dinner. Ask to speak with a manager using his or her first and last name. By doing this, you're sending a subliminal message that you either know the manager or that you have spoken to him before. The person you're speaking to will ask if he can help you, and you'll say, "No, thank you. I would like to see the manager, please." And then if they ask what is your business, you'll politely just state that you're an entertainer and that you're sure the manager would like to spare you a few moments. Don't say you're a magician. By saying that you're an entertainer, you're automatically posing a question to the manager. When he or she finds out an entertainer was waiting to speak with him, he will think, "What kind of entertainer?" And I'll go ahead and find out, instead of thinking, "Oh, a magician, tell him we haven't recovered from the last one yet." So the curious manager appears. Now you say, "Thank you for sparing your time. And I respect your time." And you say "Thank you for sparing the time out of your busy schedule to speak with me." And then you introduce yourself and you say, "I have something to show you." And so you then say, "Watch." And you go to one of your strongest effects. You then must perform one of your strongest miracles. You must entertain them, and you must, in the best case scenario, there will be a few customers leaving who pause to watch you as well. And you'll get reactions. You want to get strong reactions. Now, there's many things to suggest what to do here, but we'll get into material in a little bit. But remember, you're an uninvited guest, and as much as the general public adores magic, you're basically soliciting. My recommendations are going to be coming up on how to approach this, but you want to mystify them. You want to impress them with your best material. Now, what you want to do at this point, you should at least gain enough momentum to you gain the momentum and you gain the respect to have the manager hear you out. So now you have his attention. Now you ask the manager if you can talk with him for a minute in private. Mention a few of the benefits his restaurant will have by utilizing the talents. You're going to want to give him the handout, and I have this handout, which is in my membership site on promagicart.com, and I'll give it to you for free when you join the free level. And it's 10 reasons why every restaurant should have a house magician. Because when you give this in your business card, in your promo pack, you don't want to give him too much, but he has to know what you're offering. So on this sheet of paper will have the benefits and why it's so important, because when they understand what it does, it gives them a lot of exclusivity. They'll see why they're going to want to hire you. Now, you explain to him that after you mention some of these benefits, then you explain to him that you'll work there before you go into the negotiations. We'll get into that, but first what you want to say is you'll you want to come in for like a week or a night, and they call it pro bono. You're gonna test your material out, and then you'll say that you're very polite. You're not going to take tips only when they're offered to you, and you're going to cooperate with the maitre d' and the waiters and the staff. You're not going to be in anyone's way, and then you won't even go to the table until after coffee or dessert has been served. So you're not going to be an imposition. Now, so you tell the manager that when you're going to negotiate, depending on how you're going to, whether you're going to come in for the first week or the first night, you tell the manager that you're not going to charge the restaurant anything for this, whether it's the first week or the first night, how you're going to set it up. And that you're purely interested in seeing if it'll work out as well for you as well for them. And you can tell them some of your experience and the places you've performed. I like to have like a resume and a promo pack, and you can have that on your website as well. But when I first went out to get restaurants, I had my resume so that I can show them that I've worked in other restaurants, or if you haven't worked in other restaurants before, you can have a list of the places you've performed, and this will help as well, obviously. The next thing we're going to talk about is what to wear. What to wear is entirely up to you, but there's some things you want to take into consideration, okay? So that is, if you don't want people to think you're just another magician, then don't dress like just another magician. I've heard people say, oh, I hate magic, or, I don't like magicians. That's usually because they've seen one of the 2 scores of these really bad working professionals who are thoughtlessly, systematically destroying our field. If you look different, the restaurant manager and your audience will expect something different or unusual from you. You don't want to be the guy who's going in there with a tuxedo. So if you don't know what to wear, then you need to either talk to someone who's a fashion consultant, or you need to figure out how you want to dress. You want to dress more casual side, or you want to dress more formal, and you want to try to fit into the restaurant or the place that you're going to be the house magician. Now, that will depend on the atmosphere and such. So we're going to talk about next is your work goals with your magic. So now that you've got the gig, hopefully, then what you hope to achieve is, number 1, you want to entertain your audience. Obviously, this is one of your biggest points. 2, you want to mystify them, and you want to gain the respect of your audience. Number 3, you want to make the management believe that you are a benefit to them, because obviously that's what you're there for. You want to get along with the maitre d'. You want to get the maitre d' to like you, and you want to work well with the service staff. And then now we're going to get into maximizing your tips. Okay, so there's many ways, and we'll get into that. I'm probably going to make another video just on the tips alone, but here's one good thing is that now this can apply to street magic as well, so it's really interesting. Right when you're almost finished performing, you can have it set up with the waiter or waitress that they can bring you over some money, and this is called using the shill. And this also works for street magic really, really well. I mean, if you want to increase your tips, I highly suggest to do this. And it will depend on your situation. So, but it applies to street magic and it applies to restaurant magic. Even though it's different, it's the same principle of using the shill. And that is, okay, in street magic, you would have the person that's acting like, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, or however many people you want to use. I've seen a lot of people done it, and I've done it myself. You have to explain to them that you're working for tips, and this is towards the end of the show, because if they don't know that you're, if you don't ask for it, then basically how are you going to expect to get a tip? But you're going to do it in a there's a lot of NLP, there's a lot of subtle ways. So you're going to have your hat, okay, and not in restaurant magic, so we'll have to, get clear on this. But when you have your shill or your stooge, when they come over and they put in the tip into the hat, that's going to trigger so that the audience will start putting in their tips as well. Now, for restaurant magic, you'll have it arranged with the waiter or waitress that right towards the end of the show, she will come over and she'll put like a $20 bill into your hand and say, oh, this is from the table over there. So when you do that, you're constantly putting these messages in their head that, that you're accepting tips. Now, hopefully, if you've done a really, really superb job, then they're not going to just tip you like $1 or $2, because if you've set it up right, they're going to see all the different psychology of it. You've given them a really strong show. You've done all these things, so they don't want to insult you by giving you like $1. Although some people might only give a couple dollars. But the point being, I'm going to make another video about maximizing the tips. So I hope you like this podcast. If you'd like to get this free benefits list, head on over to promagicart.com and join the free level today, and then you can log in and you can get the notes that I'm putting on this and everything as well. So have a great day.